Thank you very much for staying glued to Pan-African television. I'm super excited for your time here. Thank you very, very much. Let me remind you that the WhatsApp number is active. I will share the WhatsApp number with you. I told you before that we have a little challenge with the WhatsApp number. We're trying to fix it. It will be back on very, very soon. But before then, we're going to make do with the numbers that I'll be sharing with you pretty shortly. All right. So let me quickly take you through the topics again before I introduce my panelists for today. Again, government has no hand in demolition of property, says Foreign Minister. Ghana Education Service says parents must assist children to observe COVID-19 safety protocols. Amase rejects Akwatia results. Subin boils over illegal primaries, and ordinance-based risks another explosion. And authorities fail to implement recommendations after first incident. And that story has been captured by the Chronicle newspaper this morning. I've been joined in the studios by the chairperson of the CPP, Hajia Hamdatu Ibrahim. Good morning to you, Hajia. Thank you very kindly for your time. And also here seated is Gabriela Tete. Good morning to you, Gabi.
Good morning.
And how are we?
We are fine.
I love your, I don't know how to describe it, your shield mask.
Face shield.
Your face shield, eh? Or your shield mask, or your mask shield.
I tell you.
Okay, so my costume is provided by Peter. Peter's number is 0242 536003. 0242 536003. That's Peter's number. He's in Accra, but can deliver nationwide. Once you send him your measurements, he's definitely going to do a better job for you and then send it to you wherever it is that you are. So please contact Peter this morning. You know how I'm looking very, very nice this morning. Please contact Peter for yours. His number is 0242 536003. All right, Adia, we are kickstarting the conversation with a rather very disturbing story, and I think I chanced on a video 2 days ago where a friend of mine on Facebook who's Nigerian had posted the video, but I didn't like the xenophobic message that was attached to that particular video, creating the impression that it is the government of Ghana against the people of Nigeria who live in Ghana. I mean, I have friends who are Nigerians who live in Ghana, who go about their normal duties, who are even engaged in jobs otherwise reserved for Ghanaians in Ghana. And yeah, nobody really has any qualms about it, because the presumption of reality really is that Ghana and Nigeria are like Siamese twins, you know. This is an unfortunate development. It is something that nobody really thought was going to happen. My difficulty is about the intelligence gathered. Did we not gather any intelligence that this was going to happen? Which court really even granted, you know, the parties that leave to go and demolish a high commission? And I'm sure, I don't know whether people don't understand what high commissions are. It is an extension of a country in your country. You know, so you can't simply just walk there with bulldozers with the company or in the company of some state security agencies and go and demolish, you know, the facility. I'm worried, really. I'm worried about even the bilateral relationship that that we have with Nigeria, and that perhaps this particular singular act may cause going forward. Adia.
Yeah, Kwame, good morning. Good morning to Gabi and to our cherished viewers out there. Kwame, I would like to take this opportunity to say a very good morning to the members of the Convention People's Party, especially the delegates who will soon cast their vote to elect officers of the CPP. And I'll continue to plead with them. As the chief, people will put it, fruit your panel and a piano. They know me, I know them. That day when it comes, they shouldn't forget the face of Hajia Hamdatu. Kwame, the Nigerian High Commission issue, I saw it yesterday, Monday, and I was like, wow, because if it is not managed well, as you rightly indicated, it will be like it's Ghana government against the Nigerians, which shouldn't be so. in as much as we know it was not the Ghana government, but I'm sure there's some kind of intelligent failure on the part of the state institution, let me say the police. Because we were told the armed police were there guiding the bulldozers to pull down those buildings. It's most unfortunate. And I think the IGP, he owes us an explanation, because it is his men who went to give, maybe protect those destroying the property, not rather giving security to the embassy, which is most unfortunate. As you said, Nigerian High Commission is an extension of Nigeria in Ghana. That's why even in any jurisdiction, be it UK, US, and I have a problem and I'm able to run into my High Commission or embassy, I'm safe. Until maybe due process is followed, it will be difficult for them to just bundle me out of the commission. The Minister of Foreign Affairs have distanced the government from the action of the Owusu Manche, and we condemn it. The party yesterday, we issued a statement. We've condemned this because it can lead to something else. If you quite recall, in 1991, when we had the football with Côte d'Ivoire, you remember what happened? There was some misunderstanding and our people were being attacked, vice versa. Nigeria, the same thing. As a party that is championing Pan-Africanism, we don't want to wake up in the morning and be hearing this kind of news. It's wrong. We are yet to hear whether a court gave them that authority to go and do that. And I'm not sure any court in this country will do that, because it's an embassy. You know, there were conflicting reports. That was a pub place, entertainment center, whatever. Meanwhile, it is on the premises of the Nigerian High Commission that they are building flats for their people. Maybe they are tired of paying exorbitant rent and then, for that matter, hotel bills. So they decided to manage and get accommodation for visiting people, or maybe some people who will be staying here for about 3 years in the embassy. So I think what happened. And then I don't understand why, if they're going to do it, they normally do it at dawn. Odd hours. So many buildings that were pulled down in this country were done at dawn. I don't know why it's if you really have the right to pull down the buildings, why do you go around that hour? And where the embassy notified that, oh, this is what is happening. As for the excuses that Owusu Manche is giving, is neither here nor there. They were called to come and have a discussion. They didn't do that. Report to the police. Report to the police. And then you use due process. But if you want to behave like King Kong, because they are on your territory, that's your land. Do you know how many Ghanaians are in Nigeria? Do you know how many people are in Nigeria? If not because now, because of what happened in South Africa, people, all Africans condemned it. That's why the Nigerians have taken it, because even most of the people in South Africa were Nigerians who really suffered. And all of us condemned that action. Kwame, we would have had a different story this morning or yesterday. But I would like to really congratulate the good people of Nigeria for taking it easy and not saying that it's Ghana government who did it, so they are also going to attack Ghanaians in Nigeria. And I'm sure they are watching us. All of us are not happy with what happened. A Nigerian should feel comfortable in Ghana. A Ghanaian should feel comfortable in Nigeria, because if we are condemning the murder or alleged murder of Floyd, or how do you call it? George Floyd, and then our own people in our own continent, we are treating them this way. What moral right have we got to condemn the white if they are maltreating us? So we have to be very, very careful. I'm saddened by this development. I'm really sad Since yesterday, I've been thinking through it. I said, I was just praying that we don't hear that maybe Lagos, Kano, and then have also started attacking our people. If you go to Nigeria, Lagos, the Ghanaians and the Nigerians are just like what you see in Circle. So I think our brothers and sisters are in Nigeria. The Nigerians too are also here. We coexist peacefully. We shouldn't allow anybody to bring confusion or chaos between Ghanaians and Nigeria. So the Osumanche should come again. We condemn it in no uncertainty. But the police too who went and gave them must be investigated. So the IGP must come out at least by today to tell us something. Because it falls under his control, let me put it that way. So, in fact, I want to plead with the Nigerian people. You know, they are watching us. It is not Ghana. It is some individuals. Maybe they don't even have any relation in Nigeria. And those of us who have relation in Nigeria, our relatives will rather suffer. So we are pleading with the Nigerian people. They should take it easy. And I'm sure the Ghana government will investigate and will get to the bottom of this issue.
Splendid submission. Now, what is also very interesting, and for me, I find it very worrying, is how people have tried to couch statements that appears to be very xenophobic in nature. And I don't want us to go on that lane. It's very dangerous and unhealthy for the bilateral relationship we have with Nigeria and things like that. So the Nigerians who are living in Ghana, who are misconstruing facts, must also be very, very cautious in order that we do not inflame passions and create an ending chaos that will ensue between these two countries. Let me quickly say a special good morning to you, Mr. Sam Obri Eduama, who is the CEO of Rage Royal Hotel. You're watching us this morning. Thank you, sir, for watching us today. And also a special good morning to you, Alhaji Baba Seidu, incoming MP for Naledigo Gambaga constituency. You're also doing the watching this morning. Now, let me just take you on a tour. Police, what a wicked lie. Are we feeling everyone? We living in the streets. So what that means, there is no security for us. If they can do this thing for our first citizens, then we like this, we have nothing to say. What do you want to see that? Now, if they don't want us in this country, let us say it up and play so that we can everybody will go. Yes. You can't do everything else like that. You can't give the child as we lock down.
To provide you with protection as you are a diplomatic entity, and therefore we will not allow anything untoward to happen. The Ghana police is in control of this piece of land, and they are protecting it. And we will also do all we can to look into the matter and make suggestions. The government has taken hold of this matter and will ensure that the right thing is done. And so this is what I can say for now. I thought it was proper for me to come with the Deputy Minister and my staff to come and look at what what has happened, witness it for myself, and then when I am engaging, I at least have first-hand information to be able to gauge.
My statement is that the matter is being investigated by the CID. The CID commissioner himself is running around to investigate the matter. So when the report comes out, then we take it from there.
Okay.
Here to establish our grievances, we are having to appeal to Ghanaian government, Ghanaian government, and our Nigerian government, ECOWAS, Parliament, the African Union, the United Nations, to come to the rescue of Nigerians in Ghana. And I would like to use this language that it is only Nigerians are seen as foreigners in Ghana. Over there in Shepherd, the Chinese are doing their business, Lebanese are doing their business, Indians are doing their business. it is only self-belonging to Nigerians. Why are we being treated like slaves in West Africa? Why are we treated like people who doesn't have father and mother in Ghana? It's a very big question I'm asking.
There are negotiations going on between the Nigerian government and the Ghanaian government over this issue. And I believe it will be resolved properly. So please maintain your cool. Don't go into any form of violence. Everything will be brought under control and justice will be served.
Said they don't have any issues with the land. Their documents are very current, and so this is what happened. So it was criminal. The people broke in here at night and demolished what you can see at my back. That's the building that has been demolished right here at the Nigerian Commission.
Okay, so that's the video. That's the video. This was a report filed by my colleague Tina here at Pan-African Television. But also there's been a response from the Owusu Mankralo, I think, Owusu Manche. If we can also listen to that particular video, at least it will give us some balance in our thoughts. Please, let's watch that video.
For us, if they can do this.
What exactly does the stool want?
Well, the stool want to make it clear about the issue of the ownership of the land. But as to the demolition and what happened, we are yet to meet on that to come out with that issue.
Okay, so what you are trying to tell me is that you don't know anything about the demolition?
Yes, as at now, there's nothing we can say about that. So our council is to meet. You know, today is Monday. We are going to have that emergency meeting. We are waiting for some of our elders who have gone to the villages or went to funeral in that. So we have called them in. So after the council meeting, we will come out with the issue on the demolition.
Okay, me, when I went through the statement you released, I saw something that said that you've invited the authorities of the High Commission to come so that you have a dialogue and talk, and they didn't come. What's the way forward? What are you going to do about that?
Oh, we still stand by what we have said in the press statement, that we still want to dialogue. We are law-abiding people, yes, so we still want to dialogue. Oh. We cannot take the law into our own hands. There is law, so we resort to the law enforcement agencies. If we have to go to court, we will do so. We are not happy. That's why we want to have this emergency meeting to clarify and clear the air. We don't want to generate any thing that can cause diplomatic row between our two sister countries. Cool heads should prevail. Cool heads should prevail, and there is no row between Ghana and Nigeria over a property. This is a small property. This should not be what should spark any diplomatic row between the two countries.
It's unfair. They can do this thing here. What of us in the street? What are we going to do? This is the staff president. They have spoiled this building. What of we living in the street? So that means there is no security for us. If they can do this thing for our first citizen, then we like this, we have nothing to say. Now, if they don't want us in this country, let us say pop and plain so that we can go.
Well, welcome back. So I'm sure you've listened to the demonstrators who are obviously aggrieved by the action taken so moto by some individuals. We don't know whether that was a court decision that granted them that authority to do what they did. We've also listened to the Owusu Manche's representative, who has alluded to the fact that they're still open for negotiations. They're still open for a certain conversation to be had after the demolition. This is after the fact. We don't understand this. So,
in fact, when I listen to the whole thing, I'm even confused. You have to sit down with the people, talk before you go to this extent. After demolition, and you're going to sit down Have they forgotten that we are a law-abiding country? But that we have signed into conventions, the Vienna Convention on diplomacy. Have they forgotten about that?
Maybe they don't know. I mean,
they don't know how. You can take the laws into your hands and then you say, if I'm the Nigerian, why should I come and sit with you after demolition?
Yeah.
If rather the Nigerian people, if they have the lesson, they should rather sue them for demolishing their building. People shouldn't just take the law into their hands and then now you are talking, you stand by your statement and you are still saying that you are law-abiding citizen. The Ghana government, fine, they are not aware, but they cannot be, we cannot take them out of blame because the police is a state police. It's not Owusu police. It's Ghana police. So who ordered them to go and give the people the security for them to demolish the Nigerian High Commission property? This one there, you go and say it to the Marines.
Okay.
It's not fair.
Well, let me bring you in.
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to the NBC fraternity. And I want to say a special good morning to our flag bearer and incoming President John Dramani Mahama. How can I forget his name? I haven't forgotten his name. It's the titles that always confuse me.
What I should call him president or former president?
Former, how you address former president to soon to be president-elect. Kwame, this Nigerian demolition is a very worrying matter. But I'll humbly add my voice to what Haja said, that we should allow cool heads to prevail and seek dialogue on the way forward. I was surprised at the news over the weekend about the demolition exercise because ordinarily I'd have expected that the intelligence should have picked up and realized that there is a threat on the Nigerian residency. I'm sorry, complex.
I made the same argument this morning.
And it's a failure on the part of our intelligence system.
I agree with
because
100%.
Clearly, had they done their work, this whole debacle would not have taken place and would have found another solution to address the challenges. Now, as it is, we have our ambassador in Nigeria who is being summoned today to explain to the Nigerian government what is going on with Ghana. We have our foreign minister here who is also trying to calm tempers between the Nigerian community, the Ghanaian community, and the mission itself. You know, over the past few years, we've had challenges with the Nigerians occupying our retail space. We've had challenges with Nigeria closing its borders to our goods. And all those have put some strain on our relationship. For us to now have this issue and to come to the extent where in our own country, at night, you have security officers leading a bulldozer to demolish a property of a foreign mission in our country does not speak well of us. For me, first and foremost, as I said earlier, my first blame is going to the security apparatus, our intelligence, and how on earth we had police people escorting for this process. Somebody in the security services ought to man up and explain to the people of Ghana, all of us, how on earth we suffered this breach. Because I also do not think that you can have policemen just by their own ideas get up and follow a bulldozer and go and destroy property without some superior officer knowing that this was what these guys were going to do. It is most unfortunate, and I hope that we don't have a repeat of this ever again. Yesterday, I heard that the Owusu Manche had an emergency meeting on the way forward on this matter. Now, apparently, the land in question, the reason why this building was demolished was because they had earlier information that they're going to develop flat apartment buildings on the property for Nigerian staff. Later, they got information that it wasn't an apartment building they were constructing, but it was actually an entertainment complex. Again, I also think that the Owusu land managers themselves also should have also done better due diligence and find out, is it in their mandate to go and demolish a property of a foreign government? They should have contacted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and informed them that our land was taken for so and so purposes. However, information reaching us indicates that that is not what has been done, and this is what is going on there. We seek you to intervene in this matter and bring the High Commission also to book if indeed the actual arrangement was not what was followed. Be it as it may, the actual building is now destroyed, so we also don't know what exactly it was that we were constructing there. Some say entertainment complex, some say it was an apartment building. According to Nigerian staff, it was an apartment building. According to Owusu Land's guardians, it was an entertainment complex. Again, there too, we had another breach. Moving forward, I would wish that government intelligence should be up and doing, first of all. Secondly, I would wish that the Ministry of Chieftaincy, at our last government assessment, we scored them 0% because their performance as a ministry and as an institution has been very, very poor. Again, they should also take responsibility for how on earth we have a chieftaincy stool now attacking a mission. So between the Minister for Chieftaincy, I want to see him that today, this time he's up and doing something with all the taxpayers' money that we put at his disposal. I want to see the Minister for Chieftaincy and the Minister for Foreign Affairs jointly leading this dialogue to bring this problem to calm waters and to bring this problem to the end that we all desire. People ought to take responsibility for what has happened. We can't brush it down the carpet. We have issued statements that Ghana is not responsible for this. Whether we like it or not, it happened on Ghanaian soil and somebody has to take responsibility. And if nobody takes responsibility, I'll go and put the responsibility on President Akufo-Addo's head. Because his appointees and his intelligence as chairman of National Security Council, his intelligence failed him. His intelligence has failed him. Let us say it as it is. Our state intelligence failed us. Now, should we end up with a diplomatic row, and heaven forbid we come to that point, with all the tension that we ourselves are creating? Is it not on Ghana's head? I remember Haja made a comment about some football match that just because of a football match. I remember I used to work in STC, and we took our operations out of Nigeria because after that football match, they burnt an STC bus. They burnt state property, and STC had to move out of Nigeria. That was how STC moved out of Nigeria, operations in Nigeria. So it's not like we've not come to a point where, even though as brothers within the ECOWAS sub-region, we've not come to those small clashes and friction before. We've been there before. It's not the right approach to solving any problem. Violence never solves any problem. We must let cool heads prevail, and we must dialogue to find an appreciable solution to this problem. And somebody definitely ought to take responsibility. Whether it was the person who was constructing that building who was not forthcoming with the right information to the stool, or whether it was regardless. It does matter, because you see,
but you can't, because the property was acquired legally.
It was acquired legally, but if you
property, you go through a certain process. You can't.
I do agree.
And go and
I do agree.
Building down.
I do agree, and that is what I'm saying. That somebody has to take responsibility.
Yes.
Whether whoever went to cause the demolition had a justifiable case or not, because right now the stories are two: an apartment building for the mission, and an entertainment complex. What really were they constructing?
But it's the entertainment complex within the premises of the mission.
Within the premises of the mission.
So how is that your problem?
No, you're not getting the point I'm making. It was within the premises of the mission.
Yes.
For the mission.
Yes.
Now, that's what I'm saying. Somebody between those two lands, the security, foreign affairs, somebody ought to have relayed the credible information on what really it is that was going on that property. And why those two managers thought that that was not what was going on. And then because it is their land, first and foremost, they decide to go and act contrary. I also think that moving forward, we have too much litigation over Accra lands. You go and buy land, and before you realize it's being sold to 2 or 3 people. That is another issue, complicated issue in this region also. I think that we ought to have a review of how we look at these two lands and the management of lands generally in places like Greater Accra. And those places where we have high population and prime lands, where now we all know that when you go and buy land, you are now, if you don't go to Lands Commission and you get a certification for your land, before you realize somebody has also started building on the same parcel of land that is being sold. We have to look at reforms to our land system so that we avoid some of these unfortunate mishaps.
No, I mean, you know, it's simply because, I feel it's simply because they are Nigerians. Yeah, the airport that we have here now, don't we have U.S. military base there?
Yeah.
Was it for the? Is it for the purpose? Was it acquired for the purpose of housing U.S. military bases? They should go and bring that military base down. No, I mean, you see, there are some things. The American High Commission? Do you think that they would have? Yeah, they can simply go there and go and bring the property down because simply sometimes it doesn't make sense. And we're just condoning some of these things because of chieftaincy, because we cannot touch our chiefs, and it's wrong.
But the law is the law. The law is the law, and it has to be fair to everybody, whether you are a chief or you are the president. Law is the law.
Absolutely.
You know, so definitely some people have to be held accountable for this matter.
Absolutely. Because of chieftaincy, so many things are being done in a wrong manner. We can't talk about it because, politicians will go and seek for the support of the chiefs in order to win elections, and everything is just mania. How do you live in a country which is not orderly? How? Somebody can simply just get up because they are not excited about somebody putting up a certain structure. They'll just go and break it down. What's the meaning of this?
That was most unfortunate. And to think there was, of all the countries, it was our brothers Nigeria that had to suffer had to suffer this unfortunate incident. I can't imagine that they can go and do the same thing, like you mentioned, whether the U.S. Embassy or any of these other foreign missions. You just can't gather even the courage to drive to their security gate and threaten this. But they have systems that will call the foreign affairs minister and ask him what is going on.
Yeah, but Gabi,
I'm surprised Nigeria couldn't do that with Ghana.
You raise a very important issue. I think we should avert our minds to it. The issue about intelligence gathering in this country. This morning, before I left the office, I was having a conversation with Amma, and I'm like, I'm surprised that our intelligence was not able to gather that this is what was going to happen.
Especially the location of this building.
Exactly, and especially so when it's a foreign mission. So what kind of...
They should have heard beforehand what was going to go on. And then even to have police and security supervise it. You see, to have security supervise it, somebody definitely at a higher level must have authorized this demolition. So the facts have to come out for all of us to appreciate and then see what really happened.
Right. Well, if you just joined in, you were watching the newspaper review segment on Pan-African Television, and we're still talking about government saying that they don't have a hand in the demolition of the property of the foreign, the Nigerian High Commission, says the foreign minister. And we have to all sympathize with her, but we feel also that sometimes we must be very sharp with our intelligence gathering and things like that. But let me say a special good morning to you, Mr. Kasalia, and also bring you into the conversation, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Hajia and then Gabi. Yeah, I think that, Kwame, I have read about this story of demolition, this demolition story. and then I've listened to others too. I'm a little bit confused. Confused in the sense that even here, people made us to believe that these apartments were inside the Nigeria High Commission building. But the story read from a daily graphic shows that it's near the Nigeria High Commission, not inside the Nigeria High Commission. And then the story also says that the developers, those who develop the place, do not have no history of purchasing that particular land.
No, wait.
A search at the Land Commission also proved that the Land Commission has not sold it
to
those developers.
Who owns the land?
That's the confusion I'm talking about.
So I just wanted to find out. I mean, if you say something is within the premises,
it's not within. It's near.
But
near the premise.
But the building was for what purpose?
It's not about.
I follow
you. See, you are not getting. I'm not even.
No, I get.
I haven't even gotten to the purpose of the building.
Proceed. Let me allow you. Let me allow you make your point.
I'm even talking about the building itself, not the purpose for the building. You see, I'm not saying what I read is the truth, but I'm in my confused state. I want to now bring what I think, because the conflicting stories is too many. Even as we are speaking, nobody has owned up as to who did the demolition. And I don't even know if people are talking about the police giving, guard when the demolition was going on. I don't know where you got that story from. And I understand
there were videos.
I understand the demolition was done in the night.
I have a video on I saw it on Facebook.
It was in the night, or daytime?
Not necessarily in the night. The person who narrated it was not specific as to whether it was day or night.
Yeah, I understand it was done in the night. Well, so far, what I've realized is impunity. Somebody decided to develop a place without going through lay down rules of engagement. And another person also decides to take the law into his or her own hand to go and do demolition. And in the end, government name is brought in there. First of all, the people who went to the site, the National Security Minister was there, the IGP was there, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and his two deputies. That tells you that, I mean, if it were to be government action, these people will not even go there at all. And government will not do or act in such a manner and then turn around and say that, oh, I don't know anything about it. It will not make any sense. And indeed, it will be unthinkable for even government to go and then do that without recourse to law. So first of all, government has no hand. And that is clear. Because yesterday when I heard the story, I mean, some apologies of commentators wanted to, bring in the name of government and then all manner of things. But it has now been clear that it was done by some group of people. Now the Owusu Traditional Council, or is it the Traditional Council or the Owusu Chiefs, are now saying that the people do not have the right to the land and all that. I don't know whether that presupposes that they were the people who went to do the demolition. If they were the people, I think it's unfortunate. They could have used the right way. I mean, also in Nigeria, I mean, you all know that there's a connection. Where they came from. They came from Nigeria. And if really these were Nigerians who were building and then developing, whether entertainment center, whether whatever center or residential center, you don't have the right to just go with impunity, go and demolish it and then damn the consequence. I think that it was very wrong for anybody to have done that. If the land really belonged to the Owusu Traditional Council, I mean, they could use due course to claim their land without having to mar the relationship between Ghana and Nigeria. Because, I mean, if a whole diplomatic mission could be treated with such disdain, can you imagine if it were just a single person, how they would have treated you? I think that we live in the rule of law. We don't live in the jungle. We don't live in the Stone Age. so that if something of this nature happen, if somebody trespasses a land and the person is doing building, the due process have to be followed to reverse that. But you see, this is something that has been occurring over and over, and I think that it has reached a level that all of us should show concern. It's reached, what is, I mean, individual developers, when you acquire your land and you are developing, overnight, before you get there, some hoodlums, or some people who call themselves langars, would have demolished it. Now the might is always right these days. They go and demolish it, put the fear of God in you, threaten to kill you, or even sometimes maim or even kill you. And so that if you are very fearful, if you are somebody who has fear in you, you run away and leave the land for them. This is what has been going on. This is what has been going on. Almost it's so pervasive in this country. And to me, it's not surprising that the whole traditional council, by what I am hearing, or by their explanation, or timely explanation that they are giving, seem to give them away as the people who went to do the demolition. And if that is the case, it's unfortunate, because I believe they believe in the rule of law. I believe they believe in the fact that we do not live in a jungle. And I believe they also believe that Ghana and Nigeria have some, cordial relationship, that even if something has gone wrong, there's a way that we can do to right the wrong. But to go, in such Rambo style, just do the demolition and damning everybody, I mean, I think that is completely out of place. It's tinge my surprise that a whole traditional council could do that. But let's pray that maybe they were not the people who did that. They are only explaining that the land belonged to them and all that. I mean, especially even if the land belonged to you. I mean, the costs are there. Kwame, if you have your land and somebody comes to build, the fact that you sleep on your rights, means that you cannot go with, you cannot go physically to remove them. At least, at best, what you can do is to go to court, for the court to rule and to give you eviction order, for you to now go and then possess your land. But to do what they did, I think that it's beggars belief, and therefore, the right thing has to be done.
There are still cloaks of confusion that I think we must try and address, because the statement that was issued in itself is fraught with a lot of challenges for me to comprehend. In one breath, you're saying that you gave the tract of land for the purposes of building something. So in the estimation of the, for instance, they gave the land for maybe, let's say, for the purposes of erecting a studio.
Yeah, or a school.
A school,
yeah.
Okay. And then they realized subsequently that that particular structure that was started as a school was pulled down. And then another edifice being erected, for the purposes of, let's say, building apartments, which is entirely different from that from the school. And that for them is the issue. The issue is that so it's not like it was an unoccupied land. It was a land in possession. But their issue is that the land in possession was for the purposes of doing one thing, and then subsequently realized that it was being used to do another thing. And then they subsequently say that people have been using the name of the Nigerian High Commission for the purposes of, taking lands from the Owusu stool and things like that. So that's my confusion. You've given the land out. Somebody has the land, right? The person decided to build a school. The person changes their mind and says that, okay, I want to build this, right? You have every right, because yes, by law. But even then, what I do understand is that, in some instances, when government acquires state properties, so when there's a state acquisition of land, and then the land is for the purpose of, let's say, constructing an airport or building an airport, and then the government uses it for another thing, the stool has the right to go to court and then demand the land from government. That's what I understand. But I don't know about in private, what's it called, private transactions, where the land has been given to a private person who becomes a usufructory owner and things like that, and then they decide to use it for another thing, and then the Stu doesn't like. I'm confused, really.
Yeah, I don't know whether really the Owusu actually gave the land to the private people.
Because if it says that, respectfully, if I may just read.
All right.
So it says that according to the tradition. Okay, sorry. So let me just read it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me catch the shit. According to him, it was on a piece of land belonging to the Owusu, which the High Commission had trespassed upon, and that there had never been a purchase of any tract of land from it by the Commission. This is one statement, right? Quote, the said parcel of land belongs to the Owusu, and it is to be used for the purposes only agreed upon by the stool and its council of elders, right? Unquote. A statement he issued. Okay. Over the weekend, armed men with blah 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 goes on and on. Okay. So according to the traditional council, it came to the attention of the stool last year that the original building on the parcel of land had been demolished and was being replaced with a new structure. It said it was also known that the structure was being erected by a Nigerian businessman who was forcibly trying to take over the said parcel of land with support of the office of the Nigerian High Commission. According to the statement, the stool was informed that the structure was intended to be an entertainment complex for commercial purposes and not a block of flat for the commission as it has been. So I don't know.
Yeah, you see,
the
person writing, I mean, that statement, they were just omitting things.
Exactly.
You see, when you read the point where they will have to be clear, then you will remove something.
Exactly.
Because if you are talking about the original building was demolished for the purpose for which it was by who? Between who? And who?
Yeah.
But what we know is that it's government land.
Yeah.
Maybe the agreement was between them and government.
Yeah.
And therefore, if the agreement has been varied, you have to go to court or you have to sit down with government for you to do the right thing.
Take bulldozers and
But to take bulldozers and use unorthodox means to do the discussion that it is.
The article was also saying that the stool, the traditional council had made efforts to speak with the developer of the facility and the High Commission.
Yeah.
To no avail. You see, so I'm suspecting that the frustrations of and the
warrant that kind of
the frustration and the quote unquote disrespect of the mission also to them as original custodians of the land. So I think that there's a problem with the communication between all the stakeholders involved in this issue, aside the intelligence failure as well. Now, truth of the matter is that the damage has already been caused.
It has.
Now, how are we going to remediate? As I said, definitely painstaking investigation has to go in. Who did the traditional council approach to inform these people that what they were doing was not right according to their own traditional laws? Who did this High Commission also report to in the hierarchy of communicating with traditional authorities? Did they bring it to the attention of the Foreign Affairs Minister, Africa Bureau Desk head, that this is what is going on, and then they should have also relayed information to the traditional council, and perhaps they also failed, and then out of frustration, the traditional council then goes to the bulldozer to just demolish everything. So we have to track in the chain of commands and the communication what went wrong, and people ought to be held accountable.
But Saka is right. I mean, information is not forthcoming. If information is not forthcoming, you can only conjecture.
Yeah.
So, and that's the problem, you know, because we haven't been seized with the full facts of the matter for us to be able to ascertain.
So in the absence
of the
there was definitely there are a lot of lapses, and definitely a lot of failures on the job as well.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they insist that they had gone to the developer, they had gone to the High Commission to inform them that what they were doing was not right.
No, but even if they tried to meet with them, I think that it was not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
there's a process for right. That is why I'm saying that did they after that meeting, because they also, because Nigeria is acting in that building there as a country in itself.
Yes.
You don't have the authority also to go and warn them about anything, even though you can complain.
Absolutely.
But did you go to the right channel of telling the Foreign Affairs Ministry somebody at the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
And to the extent that you said
the Nigerian government also, the Nigerian charge d'affaires also bring it to the attention of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that we are constructing this here, but the traditional council keeps questioning us about so and so, and where the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the Africa Bureau, the West Africa Bureau, Nigerian desk, where they also should have had that meeting with the traditional council to try and resolve it before we go to this.
How did they even come to the conclusion that the place was an entertainment?
Absolutely.
When it has, they have not even finished.
Absolutely. But even beyond
you can see from the construction that is apartment.
But
don't you see apartment?
If
somebody constructs apartment, you expect to see what should be the living room, what should be the bed, what should be the toilet in every block. So if you realize that no, this is not the design that you said, but what you are seeing, you have a lot of large space for commercial purposes. Then it defeats the purpose for which you said you were going to construct it.
Gabi, my point of departure.
Two different things.
Point of departure from the argument that you are espousing, that the mission should have had a conversation with the foreign ministry.
Yes.
When they felt that the Owusu wanted to have a conversation with them,
yes.
blah blah blah. They don't have any business with Owusu, to be honest.
No, but they have,
they have no business whatsoever.
But they have it with the foreign ministry.
Exactly.
And everybody in the mission knows that.
So there's no. It should have been done this way. There's two should have rather petitioned the foreign ministry.
Yes, I said that. It goes both ways.
To have a conversation with.
It goes both ways. No. It goes both ways.
No.
It goes both ways. Because when the mission also knows that they're having challenges with the landowners. They also, because they are here as the guests of the government of Ghana, have to inform their hosts that this so and so is claiming this and this and this. And you also bring it to their attention. So if even the traditional council are known to them what the protocols are, and they've been in existence for over hundreds and some years.
Who provides residence for foreign ministries, foreign missions?
The country that wants to come to the country applies to the foreign ministry. The government accepts your letters of all these things, and government works with you to find a suitable location to have your embassy. Whether you are going to rent the place out or you are going to build your own property, you have to work through it with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Your own property.
Property. I thought you said poverty.
Property.
I'm listening.
So you still have to go to Foreign Affairs Ministry because they are responsible for all the missions, and that is why they also have various desks. So it's not a one-way traffic. It goes both ways. Where they have a way of relating to you, you have a way of relating to them.
I think that you are just explaining away the problem. The Owusu had an agreement with government on the land.
Yes.
If by their explanation
they have a problem,
they have a problem.
Government.
Who do you have to go?
They go to the Ghana government.
Go and contact the government. The land that we had an agreement with you.
But not to come and bring.
We have seen variation.
No, but the point is that when we are saying intelligence failure, the intelligence failure, where even though that. But if our intelligence, they're supposed to work, find information from government, and if government itself has sat down for this thing to happen, that's an intelligence failure. You didn't gather information well.
Well, let's proceed there. Let's proceed.
You should have left the argument there.
Well, viewers, if you're watching us on social media, kindly share so that others may also send us their views and comments. Guys, gentlemen and lady, please. Let's proceed. You can ask your friends to share so we can read your messages on Facebook, please. Let's now come to the MPP primaries. And I'm super excited about this because all the people that we predicted on Pan-African television won at the end of the day. And that makes me very excited. I predicted that Adjo Asafo may win. And I think that my prediction was true because may, really, it wasn't shall. Yeah, it wasn't shall. It wasn't definite,
The most important thing is that there was a
that's why I used may, but she won regardless.
Even if he's single too.
Even single one, probably. Exactly. A few of John Kuma won, Dr. Adamaku Kisi won, Stephen Amwa won, Asenso Boachi, Bantama Asenso Boachi. They all won. Hassan Tampuli went on opposed. I mean, we know that. Obuo,
No, he didn't win.
He didn't win.
The first news came that he has won.
Obuo didn't win.
No, he didn't win.
Obuo. You know, when he thought he had won and then the results came and he had lost, he started singing, "Me so die."
Kwame, you are mean. You're
fire. You know that song? Oh, yeah. Hey, Aja, give me a boy. You be guy. Saka, do you know that song?
Yeah.
Hey, Saka, you too, they like life like that. Anyway, so let me start with you, Saka Salia.
Yes.
Generally, your impression. But there was this lawyer who was beaten to pulp.
Was it to pulp? He was beaten or was he beaten to pulp?
The one who stole the album. The one who stole the album.
I don't know what he did. Saka, what did he do? They shoot up how? The guy, you know, and this is how you're standing. This is how you're standing.
You know, there was one guy that actually collapsed after the video. They looked dazed. Then they realized, boom, they were not on board. There's another guy in white. There's another guy wearing your kaftan in white. He was just standing there, and then he looked a bit confused. And then before I realized, boom, I was like, no, this one, you faked it. You faked it because you couldn't drive yourself out. So
anyway,
you faked your own collapse.
Yeah. Let me start there. I mean, the president is saying that it was he congratulates you guys for holding a very successful and peaceful primaries. Albeit that I feel that we should have given a lot more people the opportunity to contest. For instance, the leader in parliament, for instance, they should have been contested. He would have lost.
State chairman, sir.
State chairman, sir, would have lost.
No,
but even last 4 years, he nearly lost. It took the intervention of some leaders in parliament to go to his constituency and campaign for him. I remember, if Hussein was part of the people who went to campaign for him, he would have lost. So he's not popular. Anyway,
ABA Hussein no.
Oh no.
I mean,
in solidarity.
But it does not.
No, it changes. It changes a lot.
For all you know, it didn't even
You'll be shocked that your presence I'm telling you, you don't know the people who love you. You'll be shocked.
No, but when it comes to internal
politics, I'm telling you that you'll be shocked. Somebody will just listen to Adia endorse Adwa Safo, and then the person say, "Well, because of Adia,
it's possible.
I'll go."
It's not possible that we
I live in that constituency. I live in that constituency.
You understand?
So you have influence. Anyway,
Osei also went to Nadoli to campaign for Bagbe.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. But it helps, isn't it?
Yeah, it helps. But me, I don't even see the...
Anyway.
First of all, I think that, it was a very successful...
But he shouldn't contest again. Next 4 years, he will lose. Go ahead.
You mean who?
But
why are you particular?
Oh, he has to go.
You don't like him.
We don't have Mugabe. We don't like Mugabe. We need the young, fresh blood like Saka. You see, like... myself, like young boys to go and change things in parliament. Not these old men who have belly full. They don't now they can't even say kukrudu again. Now they say if it's not first, say kukrudu. Now they say kakrada. They chop kakrada.
Let's be honest with ourselves. The kokrodo that was said, it was only said in 2007. By former president's brother, Adukufo. And no any other old man from the MPP has said Kokrodo. Kokrodo was said once and for all.
How do you say it?
The Kokrodo was said, it was said once and for all. So don't create the pressure as if all the others are also saying the same thing. You know, this was far back in 2007 at the Legon Congress.
Yes.
Conference.
What happened there?
You know, Kwame, I think the conference that we had over the weekend was fantastic. Everything went okay. But that is not to say it was without incidents. There were incidents in some few constituencies, but by and large, it was very successful. About 168 constituencies that was contested. 168 constituencies that were contested. Only about 1 or 2 constituencies that we had problems. And to that extent, I would say that it was successful. But you see, 40 incumbents.
41,
Okay, I don't know about
but per the reports I've seen is 40.
Yeah, I don't know about the 41 yet. But 40 incumbents losing, tells you something. But you see, it doesn't say. It's not too good for us to have as many as 40 people losing their rights or whatever to represent the party. But we should not, our opponents should not jubilate by saying that, oh, that shows that the government is not appealing enough and all that. I mean, we have seen it in the past. We've seen in 2004, when the MPP was going for re-election, about 25 MPs lost their seats. At that time, we had 101 MPs in Parliament, and out of that, it was about 27% of that number. Now we have 40 losing their seats or their right to stand on the ticket of the MPP. That's about 24%. But even at the time that we had the 27%, we still went to lose, to win the election then. So it's just about the correction. For me, I see it to say that the MPP delegate itself have corrected the situation. Because if we had presented these people who are, you know,
not loved,
yeah,
sort of,
who are relatively unpopular,
yeah,
it would have
resulted
had,
in the defeat.
you know, it would have had a toll in
on
the elections itself. But now the delegates itself have been able to correct it ourselves. You see, another thing that also, you know, played was about violence or whatever. We all know, I mean, that in Tennyson elections, most of the time, I mean, are very heated. Especially when the stakes are high. The stakes are high in the sense that we are talking about constituencies that MPP have certain MPs, and therefore the chances of you winning is always very high. You see, that is unlike the orphan constituencies, where even that one, the stakes are high, you know, but in the stakes are higher where you know that these are your strongholds. You have more than 50% chance of winning the elections if you can get the nod and all that. So you see people employing all manner of tactics to do the system and to outdo the other competitors. It is not peculiar to only the NPP. I've heard people talk about monetization of the system and all that. We heard the NDC when they had their last elections, how people were, and Abisu and Co were sharing so many things. I mean, it's not different from this one. I'm not going to say that because I'm MPP, I will say that there was no sharing of money. Just some of the people who stood, the portfolios they have, it's more even lucrative than being a minister. So sometimes I don't even get it. I don't get it. So I think that there is this impression that people create as if Parliament is the be all. When you get to Parliament, it means that you have reached the pinnacle of your political career, or you have succeeded. I mean, we have seen parliamentarians who go begging for money. I mean, we have seen if you are bound to be poor, it doesn't matter where you find yourself. You get my point. And you see, yeah, you will be. And you see, it has made Parliament to look like the highest bidder.
Yeah, who has money? So
Kwame, you and I mean, even if we have the capability of going to Parliament today, we cannot go there.
No,
because you cannot be sharing the money that people share.
No.
And all these things, the party fronts on it. You see, I will end with some point, but before that,
please,
I will still talk about the corona thing people talk about. You see, the party put all the measures to ensure that people do not flout it, but in the heat of events, when people were declared winners and people in their jubilant mood defies everything protocol, they just lost their sense of reasoning and decided to do whatever. And I think that was very bad. Next time, let's take this as a cue, so that next time, when even in the mood, we should be very cautious and all that. I mean, I like some of the constituencies. You know, the new Joaben Kwame.
I didn't know when he was.
The new Joaben.
Michael Ochibef.
Yeah, I like. After the aftermath of the elections, his magnanimity. Other places.
Oh, I don't like Bwacha so.
I'm coming. Abiba, she wrote a very beautiful piece congratulating the other, even though she lost not, very wide.
244, 210.
Yes, not very wide.
I see.
And I love Domi Kwabenya, Michael Kwe Jr.
Oh, congratulated Adjoa.
Oh yeah, he called Adjoa and congratulated him, even though he lost by 8 votes.
9.
8 votes.
Baku 8.
Yeah, because he had 288, and Adjoa Safo had 296.
He did
Kwame. So apart from that, I mean, okay, enough.
Ahmed.
Yeah.
The lady.
No, Fuseni, and then Ken Crunchy.
Okay.
That one too was about 10 votes.
Hey, then Ken did well.
Yeah, Ken Crunchy also did well. So, and ladies also did very well in these elections. A lot of ladies actually did. Kwame Batel's daughter and all that. So, Kwame Batel's daughter won. Newman's daughter also won. You know, your youthful exuberance also come to play. Our own John Kuma.
Thank you.
Yeah. Steven Sticker.
Thank you.
Echo. Asefwa. Vincent.
Thank you.
I mean, these
Asensubuachi. Thank you.
These are fantastic individuals who can change the face of parliament.
Yeah.
So I think that despite the few things about these elections that are not good enough, as a party, I mean, I think by and large, largely, it was quite successful. If we are able to eschew, vote buying, if we are able to, and my solution to all these things is that, you remember in the last election, the NDC, that is in 2016 primaries, the NDC decided that they were going to expand the electoral college by ensuring that every person who has their card is eligible to vote. But after that, they decided to jettison that system. I don't know the reason, but we believe that every system, once you start it, you have some teaching problems. And they should have perfected it and move on, so that at least it would have been one of the first things that the NDC would have done, so that others will emulate. But they ran away from it. They jettisoned it and went back to their old ways. But I think that if we have the expansion, the NPP used to be like that until we expanded. But I think that the expansion is not good enough. We should continue to do the expansion. Lest everybody who is a good standing member of the party in the constituency must be able to vote, so that nobody can come there with your money, wherever you get that money from, to come and then buy the. You cannot buy thousands and thousands of people. You understand? But as it is now, the expansion has not been wider or larger enough. It still gives room for manipulation. It still gives room for courts, litigations like the Albon thing. Every now and then, people are doing machinations, people are doing shenanigans, vote tinkering, changing ballot album and infusing it with some other. All these things must give way. I'm told so that the most popular person.
3 dead people came to vote. One of the four.
Yeah. So you believe now that the ghost can vote? You were here and during the voter register debate, asking people whether ghosts can vote. Now you have come to the realization that those people can vote.
Demonstrated by your party. Anyway, go ahead.
But that's what I'm saying. That some individuals will want to do any and everything to have their way. But I think that it's not been pervasive. It's just some few areas, and then all those things will have to be strengthened. Okay. Every election must come with a lesson. This particular one I strongly believe that the lesson that we have learned from this one
What's
is
happening?
that
How?